right, let's start going over the classic types. This is going to be a very blended type. Nothing yin or yang is going to really stand out. It's kind of like you look at them and you're like, is she yin? Is she yang? I can't tell. I see, like, it becomes very obscured when you're looking at them. You notice right away when they're unbalanced. That's where your eye will go. So the pure classic is balanced between yin and yang in a tapered bone structure that is even. They have very regular, symmetrical, evenly spaced facial features, a tapered shoulder, and has a balance that is neither overly sharp or overly full. There is a slight angularity in all the classics' bodies. And the level of angularity on that narrow, tapered frame really depends if they go more yin or more yang in their classic essence. When you go to the soft, there's a little bit of fleshiness. There can be delicately wider, especially if they weight gain. They're more round when they're overweight. Their waist tends to thicken. It doesn't go away, but it does get thick there. Their facial bones are slightly wide with softened edges. That's very important. There are no angular edges here. In the dramatic classic, similar, only they're going to go the opposite. They're going to have a slightly more angular bone structure and either have elongation in their body that makes them look narrow or have a slight squarish line because their shoulders are very squared. Especially when they're overweight, they become very square looking, pear-shaped. Dramatic classics is one of the easiest types to identify as they gain weight because you can, if you eliminate petite, which flamboyant gamine gains similar to dramatic classics, once you eliminate petite, you pretty much can see that dramatic classic pear shape. In fact, it was very hard for me for a long time when I was first starting out to differentiate between the flamboyant gamine and the dramatic classic. Jennifer Love Hewitt is a perfect example. She gains very dramatic classic-like, but she is still, has juxtaposition and is not mixed. Okay, so moving on, I have our dramatic classic example of Olivia Munn, and then we have Lupita on the right as our soft classic. So looking at them right away, when I posted this image for my group, a lot of people commented, they look the same. And they do look very similar. The subtleties are small, but Lupita is slightly more tapered and less square in her shoulder torso area and a little bit more softened. So I'm going to start with Lupita first. I'm going to do it part by part. I have to change the color, guys. It's so light. Ooh, there we go. So when we do this and I come down, you can see it's like this taperedness. It's not rounded and it's not sharp. It's just very tapered and narrow. And these tapered shoulders are very, very hallmark of the classic types. And then coming here, I find where her collarbone kind of ends. It's probably right here. And it does come pretty straight down from there. With a slight, ever so slight softness. There's always kind of like this space right here that's either straight or slightly angled. When it's more straight, it tends to be the soft classic. And a little more angular is the dramatic classic. But again, her line is slightly softened. Pretty narrow. Finding knees in these dresses kills me. I'm like, I think that's where her knees go. I'm not a knee expert, guys. Sorry. Coming down again. Just slight softness. Kind of like a little tulip shape. Here, looking like an hourglass, but is not the Kibi hourglass. And I'm off a little bit here, but we're going to leave it. So you can see it's really here and here that we're looking. And even right here, there won't be as many angles. It's a little more rounded. Now when we come over to Olivia, we can see her shoulders are still tapered, but slightly more angular. They don't come down as soft. They come down at more of a squared off angle. Can you see that? How hers is just a little bit more taut and tight and squared off. And then down through here again, very balanced waist or bust and hips. And then through here, let me see, she's very straight angles, like the dramatic, a narrow dramatic. It's going to come down like that here. Let me do it over here. I have other pictures of them, so it does help. It just slightly comes out, like fans outward. And then if we go up to where her shoulder ends, it's just a slightly more angled edge than that rounded edge, slightly narrower. If you look, now look at that. Hers comes more narrow like this. Hers is more narrow like this, and closer together. I'm hoping you can see that it is really hard to see the classics. I do think that shoulder is where and the waist is where I really look the most. I'm going to show you, I'm going to undo this and show you where I'm looking when I type. When I'm typing, I'm looking here for that squaredness, or you know what I mean? Slight taperedness there in the shoulder. All right. I'm looking for that. See how I can go right across from her? If I tried to do that to the pita, I couldn't do that. If I see what I'm saying, it doesn't go right across her shoulders. It has to come down a little bit. So a little bit softer. And then again, right here, it's going to be, here's where I'm really looking. And I mean, I'm looking head to toe, but I look for these details. Slightly straighter. Still straight, but slightly angular and angled out, if that makes sense. And then on top of their bones, you can see she's a little more taut here, more flesh on top of her muscles. They're both very fit. There's a little more fleshiness on Lupita's body. All right, moving on. Here are some looks that I do not think work for the classic types. And I've mixed the two together. But when you're looking here, none of these have symmetry and balance. When I go across the top, there are a lot of mismatched or, romantic or natural elements, some dramatic elements. This outfit wouldn't be bad if it wasn't striped and all mismatched. I think in all black, she could probably pull it off unzipped. I do think that the zipper should be symmetrical and in the middle. I think this is a little too stiff and too gamine for her, too short, and then there's no balance between the top and the bottom. So none of these are ugly. It's just my eye is going like all to different places. Let me show you here what I mean. When you look at these pictures, let's start at the top here. If I look at this one, where does your eye go? It either goes like mine goes right here and then down. It's kind of bouncing like here, then here, then here. Just visually when I look at it and if I pay attention to where I'm looking. Here, my eye goes right there in that picture. So if you look at that, where's your eye going? It's this area here. And there's just that break. It's not balanced. This, I see her more head to toe, but then I'm bouncing to here and here. Like, what is going on? It's a disconnect. On this one, it's just here. I don't see her face first. I don't see her. Here, I stay focused right in here. And I don't see down here. It's too busy. My eye goes to this focal point here. I see the dress, not her. I do see her here, but she's frumpy looking. And that's another thing. Classics can become real frumpy real fast. So let me go over here. There's a few more that I just don't like. And again, Courtney Cox looks a little bit frumpy in those tennis shoes and just frumpy looking. Like, and she's not frumpy dressed at all. Like on a natural, that would look amazing. It just shows that it really matters. These looks for Lupita in the top, it's busy. I'm looking everywhere. There looks to be symmetry, but it's just too much juxtaposition. That would be great on a gamine. Probably amazing, and you would see them head to toe. But with her, I'm only seeing the dress. Again, my focal point is like right here in this area. My eye goes to these two large flowers on her. It's not balanced. So my eye, again, is staying there, not seeing her head to toe. She kind of just blends into the dress, and not a good way. This is like, I'm not even going to comment. You just make up what you want about that one. I'm not going to say anything kind. So I'm going to move it along. That is just too many colors, too many things going on. But the actual look would be good if it was monochrome, in my opinion. Again, with the frumpy shoes. And then Lupita in this, it's not bad, but my eye goes here. Nowhere else. Because it's just not, it looks disconnected. So now let's look at classics in clothing that is harmonious for them. Look at how clean these outfits are and how amazing and balanced they look. It doesn't even look like the same ladies, some of these. And I do see, like, here, there's cutouts in the dress, but they're symmetrical. Courtney Cox really does a great job. So does Kirsten Dunst, and in staying in their classic lines. Lupita will show you in some examples. She leans a lot of gamine into hers. She has fun. She often looks really amazing. She reminds me, with her bright colors, of a United Colors of Benetton ad from the 90s. Like, they were my favorite ads, and every time I see Lupita in these beautiful, gosh, she's got to be Spanish ethereal in Olga's. Just her fashion choices are superb. One of my very favorite fashion icons, in my opinion, and she dresses not always in her lines. I think she wears things crisp and clean, which help her when she's out of her lines. But all these are really harmonious. Even this is a little fluffy and sheer, but it's just really soft and nice, and classic looking. So I definitely think that crispness, that cleanness, that put togetherness, where we would call maybe plain, just makes them shine. They don't need a lot of busy because they are themselves the object that is beautiful and to look at. They're very balanced, and our eyes crave symmetry. All right, here are some dramatic classics and soft classics. Lupita is a soft classic in different style aesthetics. Like I said, she leans a lot gamine to me. And I really like how she does this. So as a classic, and a little bit natural as well. As a classic, you wear bright colors. You can have fun. You don't have to be boring. See how she kept it balanced here, even though she's using print? I think that's what's important. Keeping that balance. See how there's symmetry. If you were to fold her in half, it's going to kind of match on both sides. And that's important. Monochrome or in like this suit, like when you're going to do something fun with like cute little pops of color on other places, it has to be subtle and classy looking. So I do like that. It's almost like she takes like the gamine with a classic essence and then dresses that rather than a classic with a gamine essence. And she does it very well. She does do a little bit of edginess. But overall, just gorgeous style aesthetic. Kirsten Dunst. Again, a good fashion icon. She really does classic well. She tends to lean, I think, towards her romantic side a little bit more. She can be a little bit more natural sometimes. However, I do think that she has a cute style aesthetic and is a good option for classics to look at. I don't know who this is. I forget her name. She was in my images. She's a classic, and I do think she looks pretty good in these. She's a little bit more dramatic, funky flair to hers, maybe some gamine. But overall, cute aesthetic. I don't particularly love her aesthetic, but you might, and I wanted to give some options. And then also look at her here compared to, please comment if you know who she is. I forget. I made this one a long time ago, and I stole it from my group that I showed different style aesthetics that I had posted a while back. But definitely think that look really shines more than the others. This one as well. You can really see when she's in her lines and not, but again, you can play with that. Here we go is Felicia Rashad, a dramatic classic. She really embraces her natural essence. She dresses like this all the time. She had gained a little bit of weight and then lost weight. And you could see she started dressing in these ways to like kind of conceal her weight gain. But she has a slight structure in her shoulders, which allows her to do this. And I think she looks really good. Great fashion choices. She's also good for anybody who wants to dress modest as a dramatic classic. I think she's a beautiful icon for modesty. Coming over to Courtney, again, embraces dramatic classic to a T. She really pushes into that dramatic. Love her looks. She does it well. She's a good icon. How could we forget Jackie O as a dramatic classic? She is a fashion icon and probably one of the best examples of how to structure your lines and what looks good and what doesn't. You can see here when she got a little bit too small print and too busy, she starts looking odd compared to like here, or even here, such a plain outfit where she just shines. It's not plain at all. Here we go. Megan Fox. She leans into her dramatic a lot. Another great fashion icon. And here we go again. Is this the same lady? I can't remember. I don't know her name, but I do know who she is. I just can't remember from back in the day. But let's look at her outfits. Great. These are great, cute, kind of a gamine essence to her dramatic classic. I am liking this. It's cute look. And then we have Olivia Munn, who I think does her dramatic. She's kind of like a Barbie girl to me. Slightly more Barbie and romantic than Megan Fox, who I think leans slightly more dramatic. Olivia is like soft dramatic in her style, if that makes sense. And then I want to show you a few examples of the classic types in a not structured, not balanced look right next to their balanced look. What a difference in Kirsten does when she is put together. And I'm sure we all can relate to these photos. I think of that one. I got two looks like, garbage, trash, street, and put together, and there's nothing in between, or whatever that one meme was back a few years ago. That's how I feel she is here. That's like, I can relate so great to this. But yeah, her running errands look compared to her put together, she looks frumpy. Where a natural type might look really cute, or a gamine type might look really cute in this for running errands. I could see Jenna Coleman throwing that on and looking adorable running around in it. Then we have Lupita. She doesn't look bad in either of these, I promise you. However, all I look at on the left is that big Star Trek white triangle-like object. I don't even really see her face. In the one on the right, I see her head to toe. I go up and I go down, and she looks amazing and put together. I also noticed the structure on this jacket and the pants, and a slight structure that is here. It's mixed yin and yang. It's narrow, structured, moderate weight in the fabric. If you try to imagine a romantic in this, you would see that would be too stiff. And then finally, we have our example here where she's looking very matronly. It's unbalanced. It's just harsh, too dramatic and too dainty in the shoes. Everything just goes too dramatic and too much on the left. On the right, I mean, she's wearing a suit. It's more masculine and she looks more feminine, in my opinion. Put together, balanced. It really makes a difference head to toe, being put together, polished, and balanced for the classic types. And that's that. I hope that you enjoyed my video on the classic types, and I hope to see you soon in my other videos. Please comment below what you would like to see next. I was thinking about doing a weight gain video with real examples just to show how that looks through the types, but I'm open to any suggestions of vocabulary, things you want to see. I do offer my typing services. You can comment below and I can email you the information. And please like, follow, subscribe, all of those things, share to help boost my algorithm so that people start seeing my videos. That's how YouTube kind of gets you out there, and I would be greatly appreciative of that. Have a wonderful day, and I hope this was helpful.